Hey guys, you're watching A to Geeks. I'm Kira and today we're going to be taking a look at the rhythm section. The rhythm section follows the story of a young woman who seeks revenge against the people behind a plane crash that wiped out her entire family. And I have to say it is a really solid film. Going into it, I knew nothing about it. In fact, it hadn't even been on my radar until I saw a trailer because I'd seen the poster, I'd heard the name and kind of would never have been able to imagine that the film was going to be what it was. So yeah, I kind of went out to see it on a bit of a whim and ended up being really pleasantly surprised by it. You've got quite an interesting cast here. The actors that we see in the film, I think in the past have been more confined to supporting roles. So, you know, they've never quite taken the limelight in the films that they've starred in. We've got Blake Lively playing the title character, Jude Law playing her mentor, B, and then we've got Sterling K. Brown, who is a phenomenal actor, and he is playing more of an antagonist type role. So I think it's always an interesting choice made by filmmakers when you get, you know, kind of the people who would be placed lower on the billing, kind of thrust to the top all in one film. It's always kind of a bit of a gamble, but I think in this instance it kind of paid off because, I don't know, they're well-known names, but there's still kind of an element of mystery carried with them, like are they really capable of pulling it off? And it suited the type of film we're dealing with here, which is, I mean, it's kind of a spy espionage thriller, although nobody's working for any official bodies here. It's very much Black Ops, shall we say. Nothing is on the table here, it's very unofficial parameters. And I don't know, it kind of, for me, it suited the edge that the film had. Blake Lively was wonderful in showing Stephanie's transformation from being, you know, this meek, damaged young woman to, you know, essentially world-renowned assassin. Jude Law played a very interesting character in B. He is kind of an agent gone a bit rogue. He's been placed on the naughty step by MI6 and he's kind of waiting for a mission that's going to thrust him back into their good books. From what we've seen here, I think it's fair to say he's definitely not a good guy. He's definitely a complex character, and I'd be really interested to see where else his character goes, because I feel like whilst he was a mentor here, I don't think it's going to exactly be plain sailing with this guy. So the action scenes in this film were brilliant. They were hard hitting, they were gritty, but they were also very messy. Like, you could tell the person who was in these fights was not classically trained, so to speak. I really liked that element about it because so often you can get these people who, you know, decide to go and get their own back on these people that have wronged them, and they're not classically trained killers like Beatrix Kiddo or John Wick, and yet they come into these fights and, you know, they're able to massacre about 80 people at a time. I kind of liked the edge that kind of gave to those scenes because they weren't as predictable as you'd always usually expect them to be. There was no clear cut, she's definitely going to win this, because a lot of the time it did kind of come down to the wire. You know, luck kind of needed to be on her side, and that just helped you keep on the edge of your seat a little bit. You know, you stayed more in touch with the film when these fights were going on. It was just a touch of realism and a nice little detail that I think sometimes gets overlooked because we want these people to be the all-out action hero, when the reality is they wouldn't stand a chance. One scene in particular where I was almost out of my skin watching it was an absolutely nerve-shredding car chase in Madrid. I knew it was fantastic when I realised I'd given myself cramp in about 3 different places in my body because I'd tensed up so much and just hadn't even realised until the pain started to set in. I think if anything encapsulates the way the action was done in this film, it was that scene. Even if you've no interest in seeing the rest of the film, I would urge you to try and find just that one scene just to see it. Whether it be the same outside of the context of the whole film, I don't know, but you know, I just think the craftsmanship with choreographing the way that all came together was fantastic. Now understandably it'd be a big ask to expect the film to keep up that kind of tempo for its entire runtime, which I think came in at about 2 hours, possibly just under. Inevitably, I think it did suffer some pacing issues. Obviously these came in between the action sequences, and I'm kind of conflicted about the way I feel about them, because on the one hand, they were a more than welcome opportunity to breathe. On the other hand, sometimes when the pacing dropped, like it really just, I counted 2 points where that really was a bit of an issue for me. It gave you a chance to feel exhausted by what you'd just watched, and made getting back into the film after that point then a more laborious process. So an interesting thing that I picked up on, and anybody else who pays any real attention to opening credits may also have spotted, is that this film is produced by Barbara Broccoli. A lot of people will be aware that this woman is Daniel Craig's boss whenever he is playing 007. Now I think Stephanie Patrick and James Bond are both quite similar characters. They are very damaged people. There's kind of that rogue spy element to both of them. James Bond in a more official capacity, and Stephanie Patrick is, well, she's more of an assassin than she is a spy, but there's definitely that edge to her. What I'm trying to get at here is, there has obviously been a lot of conversation recently, and also not quite so recently over the past few years, about, you know, diversifying the role of Bond. Recently Barbara Broccoli has come out and said, you know, she's got no problem with James Bond being played by a black actor, but he will never be a female character. James Bond will never be played by a woman. And then we get this character, clearly endorsed by the woman. So could Stephanie Patrick be the compromise? Could she be the latest offering we have to assume a kind of female 007 role, but without relinquishing James Bond himself? I'd definitely be interested to hear anybody else's thoughts on the matter, because I don't know, I think there's something in it. So overall then, I think the rhythm section is well worth the investment of your time. It's an action film that it kind of makes you think a little bit. There's a little bit of mystery to it, but you can kind of just sit back with your popcorn and enjoy whatever it is that's happening in front of you. It's been a while since there's kind of been something like this that hasn't been the really extreme action as well. So yeah, I'm definitely invested in this becoming a franchise. So thanks for watching, guys. This has been another episode of A to Geeks. Make sure you leave us a comment below, click subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so that you get an alert every single time we've got new content dropping, because there is a lot coming your way. And above all else, remember, keep it geeky.